Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the ELC EVEN 90. It's the Tier 8 French premium light tank. It's located on the defending spawn of Steppes Assault, and it's under the command of Red Dog Alpha 1. And, well, battle's about to start. Now, he's armed with a 90mm low-powered gun. It's capable of doing 220 alpha and penetrating through 175mm of armour. And, well, as a light tank, he's got a scout for the enemy. And it seems that's exactly what he's going to do right now. Nobody in sight so far, but he will spot them very shortly. And the first thing he's doing is heading to the bushes in the centre line, because obviously he might spot the enemy on both sides of the battlefield. Well, he's decided to go into the bush, which means with his camo rating, he should be able to spot the enemy, but they might not be able to spot him unless they get really close. And he's found the TNHT Viz 51, although that may have been spotted by some of his teammates, and 3 enemy tanks which are headed to the south end, as well as a T110E3 in front of him. Now, he must have spotted that one. He's doing the best he can, which is to highlight these enemy tanks and not get spotted. Of course, if you do know this vehicle, it's part of the ELC program from the 1950s to create a light armoured air transportable tank that could be used in the French colonies. There were 10 pilot vehicles with different armaments, and even had one which had twin 30mm cannons, another one which had 4 120mm recoilless rifles, and even one with missiles. Now that T92 is getting awfully close, but he didn't get within 50 meters, so he didn't auto spot Red Dog Alpha 1 sitting here in his little bush. Yes, he's completely highlighted, and he won't go unspotted. And he might realise that suddenly his sixth sense, he's getting hit and his sixth sense hasn't gone off. Unfortunately, he's now out the game. And that AT-15 is about to die. Yes, he's very low on hit points. I guess none of these guys have actually worked out yet that they're spotted, and that it's somebody in the middle of the field who's spotting them. Now, this is the first of a pair of replays, both by Red Dog Alpha 1. And in fact, actually, he's saying you guys are doing great, because he's picked up 2,342 hit points of spotting assist already in this game. Of course, one of the other ELC tanks that you may know in the game is the AMX ELC, which is actually a Tier 5 French light tank. Not a premium, a tech tree tank. Oh, now he's exposed his rear there. Just for a moment. And that might give the enemy tanks to the north a chance to spot him. But we'll have to see. You were seeing the top of the T110E3 there. And he's asking for fire. This team does have Arty. The Arty on their team is an FV207, the British SPG. It's a Tier 10 game with Tier 8 tanks in it. And of course, as a Tier 8 tank, he's earning a huge amount of XP for every Tier 10 that gets hit either by his own cannon or by his teammates hitting them. He's getting a bonus for, he's getting the spotting bonus for hitting these, or having these guys shot at and damaged whilst he's spotting them. Cobra's hanging back at the moment. E3 is very confident, but that's because he's got armour. Cobra really doesn't have a lot of armour. You can see a number of other enemy tanks there. They've all decided to hide along the south edge of the map. And that's because they don't want to come into view. That Cobra, he's trying to move up under cover of the ridgeline there. He thinks he's in defilade, but he's just got hit. And that's another 331 hit points of spotting. And now it's up to 4,300. I think the biggest and the most difficult thing you can do as the light tank is to hold your fire when you've got a perfect shot on the enemy. And you know that if you do fire, you will give away your position, and then you won't be able to do your job properly. We just saw the gorilla ram that Cobra. You didn't kill him outright, and the gorilla should be worried. Well, you can see that he did fire, and he did get spotted, so he's going to have to move from this position, because otherwise the enemy Arty is going to have a go at him. The enemy Arty in this one's a GW Tiger P, the Tier 8 German SPG. Oh, we just heard an Arty round fly straight over the top, but I don't think it was aimed at us. It was aimed at the Gorilla 15, and now that he's moved to a new position in this bush, he's gone unspotted again. I kind of get the feeling he's going to come up behind these enemy tanks, and one by one he's going to pump them full of lead in the rear. Well, it's not lead, but a steel round that goes up the posterior. He's being very careful to pop up. Okay, here we go. Fires one into the rear of the E3. Two. The E3's only suddenly realised there's somebody behind him. He only fired 2 rounds because he'd already fired 1 to kill the Cobra, and now he's got a lengthy reload. Normally it would be 29.37 seconds. He's got 27.87. The E3's ignoring him for the moment, but he shouldn't, because he's about to die. Okay, there's no other enemies in sight. There are enemies to the north of the map. Now he's staying here in cover for the moment, even though he was firing, because he was only spotted as far as we know by the E3, but it could be there are other enemy tanks. And I think he's going to go after the enemy Arty. It's a low power gun, the 90mm they fitted on this little tank. It's only about the size of Fiat 500. It's very, very small. But they had to fit a low power gun mainly because it couldn't cope with the recoil of a high power 90mm. And that means it loses somewhat in penetration, but it makes up for it in the auto magazine. And it's going to fire 3 rounds into this GW Tiger P, who will expire. And he got the kill without getting destroyed. The Tiger P did react as soon as he realised. I think he was getting tunnel vision because he was aiming at our teammates. He didn't realise actually that there was somebody watching him. His sixth sense probably did go off, but he wasn't paying attention, and as a consequence he lost his place in the game. Okay, there's a Scorpion over there. Now, we've managed to creep up without getting spotted. Sixth sense didn't go off, so the Scorpion could be looking in our direction, but he can't see us. There's the Scorpion. He's a 2-shot. Oh, we missed the first one. We get one in. Can we get the kill shot? Yes! And now there's only 3 enemy tanks left. A Waffenträger, a 50 TP and an IS-7, and they're all to the north of us. There's only 2 minutes left in the game. It is a 10-minute assault game, and it would be rather nice if we get the bonus for killing all the enemy tanks. I have the feeling that what Red Dog Alpha 1's going to do is try and take out that Waffenträger. If he can creep up on him, then he might be able to get enough shots into him to take him out. Ideally, he'd be using the HE rounds though. In fact, he selected the AP for this. Okay, he really doesn't have the time to muck about, so he's actually taking a more direct route to get to that Waffenträger, but he can use the foliage, and he's dialing in. This gun is not very greatly accurate at long range, but let's see what he managed to get. Well, that one hit on target. One more shot to get the kill. Yes, he did. And there's only 1 enemy left. It's the IS-7. I doubt if he's got enough time to get it. And he has been killed, so the game is over. And this one was a victory for Red Dog Alpha 1. Here's the end of battle stats. That was a first-class tanker for Red Dog Alpha 1 in the ELC EVEN 90. He managed to get a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He got 4 exactly, as well as a spotter badge for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage, as well as a fire effect for doing more damage than the hit points for his own vehicle. And because he actually took out 2 or more enemy tanks or tank destroyers in a battle which were at least 1 tier higher, he managed to get an All-X medal as well. So well done on that. His win rate was 5,482, which is Super Unicum standard and a bit more. Let's have a look at the team score and we'll see where he is. Okay, well, he didn't get the highest damage in the game. That went to the Object 268 version 4 on his team, who managed to get a cool-headed, high caliber and steel wall, 4,917 hit points. Second highest damage was the E3 that he killed, 3,389 hit points to him. And the third highest was the Gorilla he saved. He got 3,177 hit points of damage. The Iron Army managed to get a Oskins medal. And of course, he got an All-X medal out of that game. Nobody else got medals other than the Object 268 version 4. Red Dog Alpha 1 got 1,761 hit points. Well, didn't mean to do that. Let's close that down. And that means that there are 3 members of the enemy team who are above him and 5 members of his own team, and that means that he's in 9th place overall on damage. When it came to kills, though, he shared the top spot because both Red Dog Alpha 1 and the Iron Army both managed to get 4 kills, and so did the E3 on the enemy team. And in second place was the Concept 1B with 3 kills, and third place was the Object 268 version 4 with 2 kills, and the Waffenträger Alpha Panzer IV on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, he's in second place because the Iron Army managed 1,307, because of course he was tier 8 and he was up against tier 10s and tier 9s, so he was getting extra XP for every tier 10 and tier 9 he was hitting. And Red Dog Alpha 1 got 1,222 in second place, and in third place came the Object 274A, who managed 1,044. The 268 version 4 also got over 1,000. He got 1,038, and those are the only 4 tanks who managed to get over 1,000 base in the game. He fired only 12 rounds in the game, stayed hidden for most of it, 10 direct hits on the enemy, 10 penetrations, and 1,761 hit points of damage, of which 438 were at more than 300 meters. Those were the long-range shots he was making on the Waffenträger. He spotted 5 of the enemy, damaged 5 of the enemy, killed 4, and did 4,503 hit points of spotting assist in that game. He earned 112,577 credits on a premium count, 56,288 from personal reserves, and 56,289 for mission completion, a total of 225,154 credits altogether. After ammunition resupply, he took away 221,794 credits profit from one game. That's almost as much you would earn in Frontline for a battle that lasted, half an hour, let alone what you would earn in just 9 minutes. 1,833 XP for the battle, 183 for this being a premium vehicle, 916 from personal reserves, took away 2,932 experience points altogether. So a marvellous game because he acted like a spotter throughout. Well, not throughout, because he did actually go active when he realised that his teammates needed a little help to take down that E3. I suppose the temptation was too great for him to not kill the Cobra when he was attacking the Gorilla, because that Cobra could have taken out the Gorilla at any moment. We didn't know what state in the reload he was, so he thought fairly sensibly that he could risk one shot into the Cobra to take him out the game, save his Gorilla, and then he could reposition to avoid being attacked. And it was a good move because the enemy Arty didn't attack the position that he was actually in previously. So obviously, if he'd stayed there, he might have been in danger, but no danger appeared at all. But he did get that kill on the E3 in the end. He did get the shots into the E3. He didn't get the kill, but at least he got the shots into the E3, and that earned him a little bit extra. So that's the end of the first battle. Let's have a look at the second one. The second replay is on the Prokhorovka map, and we're on the South Spawn. Game on. Well, this tank does have some good features. Obviously, it's comically small. It's got great gun elevation, decent top speed of 70 kilometers an hour, and excellent camo, really brilliant camo. It does have some bad qualities though. Unfortunately, it has fairly poor DPM, and the gun handling isn't so great, and there's a very low burst damage and only 220 alpha from each shell, so it's not a lot, but it makes up for that in the ability to spot enemy tanks and to do so very well without being spotted. Okay, well, Red Dog Alpha 1's managed to get into the bush, and he's now spotting the enemy tanks, or spotting for them, although he hasn't spotted any yet. It's also got a fairly low hit pool, only 900 hit points for tier 8, it's fairly low, and virtually no armor at all. In fact, the strongest armor is 15mm, and that's on the front of the turret and the front of the hull. The rest of it is only 10mm, so anything that hits it is going to do damage, and HE is its worst enemy, because if you get an HE round, it will slow you down, and possibly that could be the end of you, because if you get stunned or damaged by a splash, then you are extremely vulnerable to the guns of any enemy tank. It's very unlikely that any enemy tank is going to bounce any round, or at least the only chance of being blocking a round is if it hits the tracks, and that's about it. There's another thing about this tank is it can flip over. It's been known that ELC EVEN 90s have flipped fairly easily. Oh, and he's just spotted his opposition, and he's highlighting for his teammates, and his opposition is gone. Just as easy as that. It's also fairly slow at accelerating, and he's just thanked the FB4005 from getting that kill, because now it means he can creep up on the enemy, and in fact now he's spotting enemy tanks, and he's really close to them, and they've no idea. Well, their sixth senses will be going off, but all of a sudden there's nothing they can do, and they have to pull back, because now his team are literally going to go to town on this lot. It's every spotter's dream to have something like this, and he's racking up the damage. It's already 3,500. It's going to rapidly increase. His teammates behind him are loving this, because they're just getting as much free damage as they want. 4,067 already, 4,300, 4,900, 5,300, 6,200, 6,400. It just keeps on increasing. And all because it can creep up on the enemy without them seeing him. And there's a kill. He's now up to just under 7,000 hit points of spotting. And the enemy tanks, well, they've lost 4 so far, including the ELC. But I think they're going to lose a few more, because that tortoise is very badly damaged. I don't think he's got long left to live. Just under 8,000 spotting assists now. It's going to be a major game for him. He's even spotting these enemy tanks over here. And although he could take a shot at them from here, he might be spotted by the enemy, so he doesn't really want to take that shot until he absolutely needs to. Oh, he's just spotted the enemy Heshbon. And he's out the game just like that, so now he's up to 9,351, 9,444, and there's only the SU-130 PM. He won't last long, and he's gone. 9,500 spotting assists out of this game. Now there is a Foch, and he's moving forward to try and get sight on this guy. And look at this, he's sitting in the open, and that Foch can't see him. Literally cannot see him, doesn't even know he's here. And the Foch is gone. So he's moving on. Still a Wizzy 132. and an Object 140 somewhere up at front. And he wants them as well. 10,800 spotting is some major game. Absolutely fantastic. Look at this. Fantastic game. There's no Arty in this game, so he doesn't have to hunt for the Arty. But he spotted so many enemy tanks. I think he wants a bit of damage himself now. And he might be able to get it off that FP4005. Okay, you can see them up ahead. But he's just letting his teammates feast upon these tanks. And they must be loving him for this. 11,000 spotting assists already. Okay, T32, he did get spotted, but before that guy can do anything, he's out the game as well, and that's more spotting assist. Okay, now it's just spotting the guys the other side of the railway lines. Nobody yet. We know there's an Object 140 over there and the FP4005. There's the FP. Now he was just spotted by one of our teammates and now he's a one-shot. So we could take him as a kill. And he's just blasted his round, which means he's not going to be shooting for the next 20 seconds or so. And he's out the game and that's it. It's all over. He's done it. He's had a fantastic game for Red Dog Alpha 1. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was the first class tanker for Red Dog Alpha 1 in the ELC EVEN 90. How that wasn't an ace tanker, I do not know, because he did so much spotting assist in that game. He got a spotter badge for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage. He got the patrol duty for being the only one spotting 6 enemy tanks whilst they were damaged. And he got a scout medal as well for spotting 9 enemy vehicles right from the start. He didn't actually do any damage to his team, to the enemy at all. Didn't fire his gun once, but he picked up a huge amount of spotting assist out of the game. And I can tell you straight away, it's 11,441. He got the Holy Trinity, but he didn't get the ace tanker. Yes, we call the spotter, patrol duty, and the scout the Holy Trinity, because if you've got those medals, you've really done your job as a scout tank by letting your teammates benefit from all the spotting you've done for them. And it really does help the teammates to earn huge amounts of credit. And it's all thanks to him. When it came to damage, he didn't get any at all. He's right at the bottom of the chart. In fact, there was quite a few enemy tanks that didn't get any damage at all. And the reason for that was that they were taken out by his spotting before they could do anything to his team. The highest damage in the game went to the FP4005. He got 3,736. But he didn't get a high caliber because it wasn't 20% of the enemy hit pool. Second highest damage went to the Superconk with 3,507, and he got a Confederate. And the third highest damage in the game turned out to be the BZ-176 on the enemy team with 3,319 hit points. When it came to kills, it was the Kampfpanzer 07RH who got the best with 3 kills. 2 kills went to the Hep-V, the Super Conqueror, and the FP4005. So there was 2 FP4005s in that game. And on the enemy team, it was their BZ-176 and their T-28 prototype. When it came to base XP, he's right at the top of the table because of all the assists he got. 1,248 went to Red Dog Alpha 1, 1,102 went to the Kampfpanzer 07, and 879 went to the Scorpion. So only 2 players managed to get over 1,000, and Red Dog Alpha 1 was right at the top of the table. He fired no rounds, got no direct hits, no penetration, and no splash, because he didn't fire his gun once in the entire game. He spotted 9 enemy vehicles, so he qualified for the scout. He got 11,441 hit points of spotting assist, and he earned 154,152 credits from the battle, 77,076 from personal reserves, and the same again for completing the mission and events. 308,304 credits for the battle, and there was no deductions for ammunition, consumables, or repairs, simply because he never got damaged and he never fired a shot, and he didn't use consumables, so he took away a full 308,304 credits profit. 1,872 XP for the battle, times 2 for the first victory, 187 for this being a premium vehicle, and 936 from personal reserves took away 4,867 experience points altogether. So 2 very good battles in the ELC EVEN 90 for Red Dog Alpha 1. I hope you enjoyed them. If you did, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.